Well, hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Blue Star Roundup presented by the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club. I'm Rob Vale, this is Levi Batchelor, and we're going to talk a little bit about our most recent game against the Chicago Bears, a big win for us.
Big win.
Yeah, and we're going to look forward to the next week's game, which is against the San Francisco 49ers, a big rivalry game. Yeah. So let's just kind of dive right into what we saw against the Bears. I mean, I was impressed with the win. You kind of nailed it in terms of calling the score, or at least in terms of the spread. I kind of figured it would be a little bit closer. But then again, the Bears had a lot of they kind of came in as a mash unit.
Yep.
They had a lot of injuries. Of course, Cutler didn't play, and some other folks on defense, and so
yep.
I think that played into that. Although I still think, maybe had Cutler played, we probably still would have won the way we played.
Oh yeah.
But it might have been a little bit closer. But that being said, a win's a win, no matter how you get it,
Absolutely.
big or little. And so I was pretty excited. Give me some quick thoughts from the game. What'd you like? What you didn't like?
Well, so my player to watch for this game was Claiborne, and Mo was a blanket out there. He was fantastic. Carr, Jeffrey beat him up a few times, but like I said, Jeffrey is a great big physical freak, just like Dez, and he's one of those on the cusp of eliteness. And so you kind of know that Jeffrey's one of those guys who's going to get his.
Yeah.
And I mean, he took advantage of Carr a couple of times, but all in all, the secondary was really good. The linebackers, I mean, Lee and Durant, I mean, those guys were flying all over the field. The D-line leaves a little to be desired. But at the end, we wound up with that strip sack towards the end, recovered the fumble and stuff. But the offense, I mean, they were just awesome. It is so much fun seeing these guys, just march up and down the field at will. And I mean, just like you said, I know that the Bears, they had a mash-up unit especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they've lost. I think I saw a graphic where they've lost. There was like a half a dozen different starters that didn't play, or at least didn't start this past week. But I mean, still, the game went exactly the way that I thought it would. In that Zeke had his breakout game that you called. Dak finally put it together in the red zone, and Dak's already been fantastic between the 20s, and so it was good to finally see him figure out the red zone and start putting points on the board down there. Dez was awesome. Beasley was awesome even after that monstrous hit that I knocked him into yesteryear. Wow. But he was able to get up, recoup, and like I said, special teams were great. The coverage downfield was fantastic. All three phases, the Cowboys dominated this game.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree. I mean, I think we did really well overall in terms of all aspects of the game.
Yep.
Except, if I want to be really picky and I want to find something to pick on, I'd like to see us get a few sacks.
Yes.
I'd like to see us get a little bit more pressure. But again, we were talking about the mash unit that was the Bears.
Yep.
Frankly, we've got our own little mash unit going on. I mean, when you consider 4 starters didn't start on the defense. Yep. Skandrick was out, and of course Tank wasn't there, and Gregory wasn't there, and McLean wasn't there. When you start talking about those guys, I guess you kind of got to give them a little bit of leeway. But you know what? Those other guys got to step up.
Yep.
They're paid just like the other guys on the other side of the line. So they got to find a way to get home.
Yep.
I was kind of thinking that last week I kept saying Jack Crawford. I meant Tyrone Crawford, as they moved him outside, and I kind of thought maybe we'd see something a little more from him, but I don't know. If his flexibility allows him to stay out there after this game we get Tank Lawrence back.
Yep.
So that would mean a lot in terms of flexibility for this defense.
Yes.
If he's able to do that consistently, and it gives Lawrence an opportunity to heat up the quarterback.
Yep.
So that's kind of exciting. So just to kind of go inside the numbers a little bit with what we saw last week. First of all, Dak, he was 19 of 24. He only had 5 incompletions out of the whole game, 248 yards passing. Finally threw for his first touchdown as a pro.
That's right.
That was really good. Zeke ran for 140 yards. Overall, we had 199 yards rushing in that game. So just to kind of put a point on that, the fact that we're starting to see some things change there, and also remember that we did that without our left tackle, our starting left tackle, our All-Pro, our Pro Bowl left tackle Tyron Smith, and half the whole second half was played without our starting guard, and so Ron Leary came in, and how smart does the Cowboys look now that they didn't trade Leary?
Keeping him around.
I guess that's why you hang on to valuable commodities.
That's right. And I mean, I gotta say, I was not a Chaz Green fan through the preseason.
I don't think anybody was.
I mean, he just looked lost.
I don't have a Chaz Green jersey. Do you?
No, I don't. And I mean, like I said, when he played, he just looked lost out there. He was constantly getting beat. They had him out on the right side a lot, and
that's his natural position,
right? And I mean, he was constantly getting beat around the outside on that right side. So when I didn't even realize that Tyron was hurt until the game. So as soon as I saw the graphic that Tyron was out, I was like, oh, how's it going to go? As much hate as I've put on Chaz Green, I take it all back from what I saw this past week, because he was phenomenal. Now he's still got some things. He's still got some footwork issues that it looks like he needs to, and some hand issues that I think he needs to work out in his pass protection. But man, oh man, his run protection, it was a privilege. If you watched this game and you saw Zeke back there, go back, if you haven't seen the game, or even if you did, go back and watch just like the second half and watch that offensive line work. It is a perfect lesson in run blocking. They were, all 5 of them, Green, Leary, Frederick, Martin, Free. I mean, it was absolutely run blocking 101. It was a perfect lesson in how to run block.
Yeah, I also want to, in terms of blocking, I want to give a shout out to another player too, because I think it might have got lost in everything. A guy that had a pretty good game, believe it or not, was Terrence Williams. 88 yards, 4 catches. Yeah, he had the drop. Or the fumble.
The fumble, right.
And everything. But here's the thing you look at with some of these guys. What do they do when they're not being targeted?
Right.
So his blocking downfield on some of those runs and some of those yards after the catch for some of these other guys, did a really good job. So for all the hate that he got for not stepping out of bounds, and for all the hate that he's going to get gotten over the fumble.
Right.
There's a reason the Cowboys draft him. There's a reason that he's a starting number 2. He still has the skill set. But you talked about the blocking, and that's something that is often lost when you talk about some of these other positions. So. Yeah. But so going back inside the numbers, Beasley had 7 catches. 4. Williams had 4 for 88. So Dez got 3 of them. He got a touchdown.
That's right. Throw up the X.
I mean, we did pretty well on offense, and like I said, the fumble that we lost, that kind of sucked. But We again looking at defense. The other thing, and I really thought, I didn't think that we would wake up on Monday morning and the world would still be here, because Bailey missed a field goal.
He did.
I thought the world was going to end. I never thought
What was that?
He's good for another 300 kicks now, apparently.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
whatever.
Get it out of the way.
But he's, the guy, we make fun of him, say, he's money.
Yep.
You got to remember he's human-ish. But he missed one. So you think about that. There's another scoring opportunity that we didn't capitalize on that one. But for the most part, we did really well. Again, Barry Church led the team in tackles.
Yep.
And which I'd really rather see my defensive line leading in tackles.
But let me see Sean Lee, because he's around the football every play.
Right. Exactly. So Lee had looks like Lee had 3. So all in all, a pretty good defensive effort. We on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about the offense. On the defense side of the ball, the goal line stand.
Man.
The timeliness of getting off the field.
Yes.
Is paramount to this defense,
yes.
because there are some areas that we know we're susceptible to.
Yep.
Getting off the field in a timely manner is vital, and they did that. There were some plays they gave up, and there were some runs that they gave up that I wish we could have got back. But at the end of the day, you got to give them a shout out, because nobody expected them to do anything. Nope. I mean, we expected. I think everybody on all fandom, everybody except for the coaches, expected this defense to frankly suck.
Yeah.
And they've given up some plays, but they've stood strong when they needed to, and they've done it. So kudos to the defense and all.
Yeah, and I think that it just goes back into, for the longest time it's always been the last couple of years it's been Romo needs to carry this offense, and the offense needs to carry the team, because the defense has always been a liability. I think that this past game showed exactly why that doesn't have to be the case with this team, because the offense got the ball, marched straight down the field. Defense, nice and fresh, gets out there, forces a 3 and out. Offense gets the ball back, marches straight back down the field again. So by the next time, the whole first half, the defense was totally fresh, because they were only on the field for half a dozen series at the most.
Well, and a big shout out to Dak Prescott, because he led this team, and I think I believe it was 7 scoring drives this year of 75 yards or more.
Yeah.
So the offense is doing their job. We're keeping the defense on the sideline, and so big shout out. And that goes to part of what we want to talk about in terms of these numbers. The time of possession on this, the Bears had the ball for 24 minutes and 41 seconds, and Cowboys had it for 35-19. So we had it for another 10 minutes, or 10 and a half minutes roughly. So when you're doing that and you're controlling that, and on top of that you're scoring.
Yes.
And you're scoring touchdowns. That's a big deal.
Right.
And here's the big thing. We went from 33% the first week in the red zone to 60% last week to 100% this week. So that's huge. When and that takes the pressure off of your defense.
Yep.
When you know that quarterback and that offense is just going to have to start dropping back and chucking the ball.
Yep.
When they're playing from behind like that, that's huge for them. So another upside, Dak's quarterback rating for the game was 123.6, very good.
My.
Beasley is tied for 5th in the league in receptions with 20 on the year. Who'd have thunk that? And so here's a quick question. You know who the number 2 running back in terms of rushing yards in the league right now is? The number 2 guy.
Is it Ezekiel Elliott?
It might be. It's Zeke Elliott. He is number 2 right now, and he's actually tied with Isaiah Crowell 274 yards, but they're only 24 yards behind LeGarrette Blount. So, on top of hurdling defensive backs, he's also gaining yards while he's doing it. And like I said at the beginning, I still think he's going to break the rookie rushing record for the Cowboys.
I mean, at this point, I don't think there's any way to stop him at this point. I think he's just getting started, and he's just getting better. I mean, he blocks so well.
Yeah.
He runs so well. He's gotten so much more patient. He's been able to see lanes. It's been a total turnaround for him. From week one.
Yeah,
Because he was so impatient. He was so impatient, wouldn't let the plays develop. And now, I mean, he sees where he needs to go.
And he's finding his way in this offense.
Yep.
And I think we talked about it right after week one,
yep.
when we had to talk people off the ledge about, it was a wasted number 4 pick or whatever the heck they were going on about. He's a rookie. He's figuring this out. And as we said then, he's just going to get better and better. And he's going to start seeing these things. He's going to be making more yards in those dirty runs that we talked about, and so forth. So that's a big deal. And like I said, I think we're all going to be excited by what we're going to see from him as the year goes on. And I do want to say this because it's something that kind of came into my mind while I was watching the game and rewatching it and thinking about it. We're kind of seeing a blooming of a new era Cowboys.
Yes.
So for those of you that weren't around to see Staubach and Dorsett and these guys when they came into their own, and and then Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and these guys, and you said you're concerned. You said, well, they haven't done anything since I've been alive. Maybe you're that young and they haven't. I got a feeling you're seeing what we saw back in the 70s and what we saw back in the 90s.
Yep.
So enjoy this right now. Enjoy what you're watching. Understand that there's going to be some bumps in the road because there was back in the 70s and there was back in the 90s.
Growing pains.
But we're on the way up.
Yep.
All arrows point that way.
Yep.
So keep that in mind as we go forward. So. All right, so we're going to take a break, and we're going to get into a little bit of next week's game and take a look at our sponsors. Make sure you visit them, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back with the second part of our show today, Blue Star Roundup. We are the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys fan club. Hope you were able to take note of the sponsors and visit them, especially the Game Day Sports Tours. I tell you, if you want to go see a Cowboy game, you definitely got to go down with them. It'll be a great Cowboy experience. You'll meet current players, former players. You have some good food. Most importantly, a good chance to go to the game and hopefully see the Cowboys kick some butt. That's right. And if you've never been to Cowboy Stadium, well, AT&T Stadium, it's never going to happen. I'll never get it out of my head that it's not Cowboy Stadium. But if you ever get to AT&T Stadium, and just to take the tour, I strongly advise you do it. It's a wonderful place. It's a fantastic building.
It's awesome.
So make sure you go down, and make sure you go down with Game Day Sports Tours. So check them out at GameDaySportsTours.com. Okay, so we have the dreaded 49ers coming up this week. I don't think that it's quite the same as it was back in the 90s.
No.
But because we've changed so much, and they've changed so much, and they're having their struggles this year. They're 1-2, and they've lost 2 in a row.
Yep.
Now, granted, they lost to a strong Seattle team last week, and but I think we match up again. I think we match up pretty well.
Yes.
Their defense, now the 49er defense is a pretty good defense. So that's going to be interesting this week to see how we handle it, see how Dak handles it. I think Dak is going to see some different fronts. I think what teams are now figuring out, see, the first 2 weeks of the season, you saw a lot of 8-man fronts.
Yep.
And because they said we're going to stop Zeke. You know, young quarterback back there, you're going to have to beat us. Well, he went out and he did a really good job.
Yep.
So then against the Bears, you still saw some of that, but not a lot. And so he handled that pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
So I think what you're going to start to see now is teams play more conventional defense,
Yep.
but change the fronts and change the looks a little bit, and try to confuse Dak even more. What that means, though, is I think you're going to see a lot more lanes open for Zeke
Yep.
to run. And don't forget, we've got Almo back there, or Alfred Morris.
Yep.
You know, and Dunbar got his first touchdown last
Yep.
week too. So
right.
we were throwing a lot of different things at the Bears. And I think this week would be a lot of the same.
Yep.
But the defense we're going to face this week is going to be better than any of the other defenses that we faced up to this year, up to this point in the season. That said, their offense doesn't scare me at all. And I think if we get out of here's the thing: if we get out of this game and we are 3-1, with all that we have gone through, injury-wise, suspension-wise, and everything, it's going to be quite the accomplishment for these guys.
Absolutely.
And I have every confidence in the world that we're going to do it. What do you think about this game coming up?
You know, I don't have the same reservations that you do about the 49ers defense. I think, Patrick Willis is retired now. Justin Smith is no longer there. Alton Smith is no longer there. So I think that that dreaded 49ers defense of the last few years is only a mere shell of itself now. On the offensive side of the ball, the 49ers, with Chip Kelly calling plays and stuff now, they've really, they look kind of flummoxed. They look kind of lost. One of the good things for Dallas is that there is clearly an identity emerging from our team. And that Dak is really good, Zeke is really good, and our offensive line is really good. And we are going to use all of those tools, and we are going to march up and down the field on you, and it's up to you to try and stop us. On the defensive side of the ball, maybe not quite the liability that I've been making it out to be thus far this year, but still, in the swing of things, you want this Dallas Cowboy. If you're a Dallas fan, you want the offense on the field controlling the clock. I see this game going pretty similar to how the Bears game went. I think that we should have no problem being able to move up and down the field as long as we continue. That we've got to do better with taking care of the football. Period. Zeke improved. He didn't put it on the ground once, but just we've got to cut down on the silly mistakes, whether it's the stupid penalties or whether it's putting the ball on the ground. If we can get rid of doing that stuff, take care of the football, and continue to march up and down the field, I think that we win again 30-20.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be somewhere closer to 20. I think the spread's going to be about the same, but I think it's going to be like 24-10.
Right.
I think we can get maybe 20 to 24 points on this defense.
Yeah.
I don't. But the reason that I don't think that it's going to be much closer is because I don't think their offense is going to do much.
I mean, they don't have any weapons. I don't even know who their running back is. Who's their number one receiver? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not even so much that. It's just that even if they had, if they had guys that you knew,
right,
this type of offense, you have to be in it for a while for it to even make sense to you.
Yeah, and I mean, Chip is going to run that up tempo stuff, and like I said, they just don't have the personnel for his offense.
Yeah, and I think our defense, even when Chip was in Philly. Our defense kind of handled that pretty well. Yeah. So I don't think it'll be much different. I will say the guy that we miss, I think, on defense more than anybody, just to be honest, is Rolando McClain.
Yeah.
The guy in the middle was just an absolute force.
Yep.
He made people pay
yep.
dearly. when they came in his area, or he went to their area.
Right.
He played the run very, very well, and I think that's where we miss him the most.
Yep.
That being said, the rest of the defense is doing a pretty good job, and so, like I said, I'm not worried about them. This is one of those areas where we disagree a little bit in terms of, the defense or on the 49ers side of the ball.
Right.
The only reason I think that they're a little bit better than what we've seen so far is the fact that they can get some pressure. They can generate some pressure. They do some different things from a scheme perspective, some different blitz packages and things like that. So,
right.
Who knows? We'll see. I firmly believe that we're going to probably. I believe we're going to win this game.
Yep.
Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 to 10 in that neck of the woods.
Yep.
So I'll take a 14-point win any day.
Absolutely.
I'll take a 1-point win if that's the only way I can get it.
Absolutely.
But I'll take that. So player to watch. What's your thoughts?
Tyrone.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Crawford. You got all that money. You're fat and happy. It's time to start earning that paycheck, my man. This D-line we have got to start generating some pressure. And I mean, just like you said earlier, when we get Tank back, I mean, that only makes us better.
Sure.
Because it's just more talent up there. But in the meantime, the defense has got to hold serve. And to do that, we've got to start generating more pressure. I mean, like I said, it didn't hurt us too bad against the Bears because the entire secondary, Mo especially, they were playing out of their minds. I mean, they were, for a majority of that game, fantastic. But this D-line has got to start generating some pressure and doing better jobs with their lane assignments and playing the gaps right, because there were far too many times. And like I said, the Bears are pretty talented up front, and the running back that they've got, he kind of blew me away. He played really well, but a lot of it was simply because they misplayed their lane. They misplayed the assignment. And so like I said, it's time for the defensive line to start tightening up this ship and get ready to get our guys back, and let's get dominant on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I like that you picked Crawford, because I think it's an interesting thing what they're doing with him, trying to move Tyrone outside. And like I said before, if we're able to, if he has success there, and when Tank comes back, I think that just gives us more flexibility.
Yep.
So let's see what they do with him, and that'll be a good guy to keep an eye on.
Yep.
My player to watch is Leary.
Yep.
Because it's going to be his first start in a long time.
Yep.
He played very well coming in relief for Collins last week.
Absolutely.
And I don't see a reason for him not to play well, but the reason I want to keep an eye on him and why I want to watch him is because it'll be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch over the next couple weeks to see where those runs go, and if we were able to chart the success of those runs that go between center, left guard, and left guard tackle. And with Leary in there as opposed to Collins in there.
Right.
So I mean, it'd just be interesting. I will say this: that Leary's probably the happiest guy on the Cowboys right now, because it's no secret he wanted out of Dallas.
Yep.
He wanted to be traded or released or something, because he knew he wasn't going to start in front of Collins. So he's got to be the happiest guy in the world to be able to put together some more game film.
Yep.
With the rest of this offensive line, and just remember, he was the starting left guard when Murray had his huge year.
Yep.
So
he was the one unsung hero on that line.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so he's my guy to watch, and I think we'll do good with him.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm excited about the rest of the season. From the first 3 games I've seen, we are 1 point away from being undefeated.
That's right.
And which means we're not undefeated. But I mean, if you just look at it in terms of how close and we are to that, that says a lot about where we are as a team.
Yep.
Right now. So, I guess that's pretty much it. The only thing that I also want to point out is this game is going to be in San Francisco.
Yep.
49er fans really hate us, and we hate them.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Our watch party this Sunday is at Bailey's in Goodlettsville behind Rivergate Mall.
That's right.
I have been told that we have some 49er fans that are going to try to infiltrate our territory. So what we need is all of you Cowboy fans out in the Middle Tennessee area.
Everyone. Come on.
Come on out. Wear your Cowboy stuff. And let's show them what Cowboy fans are made of.
That's right.
And let's just turn that place upside down. We've had some really good turnouts. I mean, we've had over 60 people. At one of them, we had about almost 40 last week.
Yep.
So there's a lot of Cowboy fans out here, and you need to be part of it.
That's right.
So come on out. The check-ins start at 3 o'clock. It doesn't cost you a thing to come out and just be with us and high-five everybody when the Cowboys score, and cuss a little bit if they do something stupid. Nah, don't cuss. Just but come out and have a good time.
Yep.
We have some drawings and some giveaways this week. We have some things that the Dallas Cowboys themselves have sent us to give away. Premium members are going to have first chance, but there's a few extra, I believe. And so come on out and get some of these things. You're going to love it.
Yep.
So make sure you get out. And we will, I guess we'll see you next time on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check us out on Facebook.
Yep.
Just search on Facebook, Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club. You're going to see two links. One is to our like page. You can like that. And then one is to our join page, where you can actually join the club and get a lot of information about what we do. So
that's right. Now all the links for our sponsors, as well as to our Facebook pages, are going to be down in the description below. So if you want a quick way to check them out, just hit those links. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, you want to take us out?
That's it. So we'll see you next week, and we'll hopefully see you at Bailey's this Sunday.
That's right. Be there
for the Cowboys against the 49ers. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.